It's Phil Wade from Dalton Wade Real Estate Group, and today I'm joined with Taya, who's holding the camera, and we're here today to talk about the four horsemen for real estate success. So I've kind of coined that term, four horsemen, and what are they? So basically, they are warm cold calling of for sale by owner and expired withdrawn listings. That's one. Number two is internet leads, primarily focused on buyers. Three is social media. Four is your sphere of influence. So you want to devote a little bit of time each day to those four things. So let's talk a little bit in more detail about them. So the first one we talked about was for sale by owner, expired listings. This is calling folks primarily to get their listing. Now, every real estate agent is trained to do this. This is a standard thing in the business. Call expired, call FSBOs. So how can you sort of set yourself apart from, because these folks are getting, a lot of calls. So let's talk a little bit about for sale by owner first. So with the for sale by owner community, usually, if not always, why they're selling it themselves is because they're looking to save money. So you're going to give them a call and you're going to pitch them with 6%, probably a tough sell. You might think in terms of lowering that commission, because that's usually what their holdup is. And then we'll talk in a second about what the advantages of doing that. And then with expired and withdrawn listings, again, most times they've paid the 5 or 6%, so they're comfortable with that. But for some reason their listing didn't sell, something happened with the realtor, blah blah blah. So again, you got to tell them how you're going to fix the problems that occurred before. So there's only two reasons why a home, if you're on the listing side, there's only two reasons why a house doesn't sell. One, it's overpriced. It's tough to sell overpriced merchandise. So that's one. Two, poor marketing. Primarily around, the photography, the write-up. We've all seen them on MLS, nice homes, but pictures taken, with a camera phone, pictures taken at night, just not well presented. And then the remarks don't really kind of help the cause either. People are very visual, and again, they're looking at many homes, so you've got a very short amount of time to kind of catch them. You got to catch them so they want to come see that property. Catch them via the photos. So good photography goes a long way. So that's a selling point if that listing didn't look like it had the best photography. So you got to kind of analyze the old listing, and then give them a call and tell them how you're going to fix why their house didn't sell. There's just not as many expired and withdrawn listings today because of the market. Things are selling, so not as many things get to that status, so it's a little bit harder, but they're still out there. And then, of course, the for sale by owners, you can find them on Craigslist, you can find them on Zillow, you can call them off their sign. So again, and why the listings are so important is that from a listing, you can get a lot more. When you work with a buyer, you just get the buyer, basically. You may get a referral, or you may get to sell their house, X number of years down the road and help them buy their second home. But, if we're living in the world of today, we want to make money today, not in 3 years. Listings can kind of help do that, because hopefully you sell your listing, and then from that listing, you've done an open house, you're aggressive with that, and you've met buyers off of that, and there you go. And those buyers, interesting enough, you didn't have to pay like Zillow or Realtor.com to give you that lead. You met them basically, for free. So that is a very effective strategy. Open houses, meet buyers. As soon as you get the notion that they're not really going to buy that house you have as your listing, you go into like sales mode as to why you're the best real estate agent, how you can help them. Again, buying real estate in Florida, it's tricky. There's a lot of pitfalls. We run into the pitfalls. unpermitted properties, square footage not right. So again, if they're out there by themselves, they're not going to know these things. So, again, you're selling yourself around the lines of how you're going to help them, how you're going to make that process easier for them. And then, you follow up, and then hopefully, they engage you, and then all of a sudden you picked up a buyer off of that listing. So again, the calling part of it to get the listing, that's the hard part. That's the thing that takes work. And basically, you got to do it day in, day out, week in, week out, and it will pay off. I mean, and basically, sometimes you call them up, and if it's a for sale by owner, they don't say, hey, come right over and let me give you my, they may still need a little more time. Oh, I'll call you back in a couple. I remember one listing I got, I must have called the guy 9 times over 3 months, but I kept calling him every couple of weeks because he was breaking down. He was running out of steam. And basically, at some point, if the for sale by owner doesn't get it sold, they may turn it over to you. Now, I ended up, significantly discounting because, but it was a 700,000 plus listing, so all was good. So that's listings. We'll do another training on that in more detail, but so that's one component of your arsenal. So every day, whatever time it is, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, you should be making those calls. Call people up. You never know who you'll meet. You'll never know who you talk to. If you do it enough, good things will come of it. Most of the times what happens, agents just don't do it, unfortunately. So that's one. Number two, we're a big believer in internet leads. They do work, they do convert, whether it's through Dalton Wade, your own spend, you have to have some, hopefully, budget to be able to, drive some leads to you, and then, you need to, be good at converting them. We had a training last week on that subject. You got to call them quick, you got to continue to follow up. We have scripts, we have best practices, we deploy Boomtown to help us do all this. So again, it's a very methodical, hands-on, do it every day type of thing. The leads come in, hopefully a couple a day or, X number a month, and you continue to work those, again, looking to hopefully get, if you're spending X, hopefully X is enough to give you one transaction a month. Sometimes they don't convert immediately. They do take some time, but eventually, they may turn into a deal for you. So that's number two. Number three is social media. Social media. It's around kind of branding yourself, typically as an expert. Again, it takes time. It's a thought-out strategy. You may be blogging. You're blogging for first-time home buyers, teaching them what the first-time home buying process is. You may be putting ads up on Facebook. You may just have a Facebook page, but again, you're trying to find business, through social media. Again, it tends to be a longer-term strategy, something that you need to do, consistently. You're building that Facebook page, you're building your blog, and it takes time, but hopefully through that continual effort, it does bring in leads, which you're able to turn into, business. Again, there's much more detail to all 4 of these, so this is, again, just kind of informing everybody of the 4. Then you got to kind of drill down, further to really sort of, do one of the 4, and you should be doing them all, as good as you can. And then the last one is just your sphere of influence. That's, kind of beaten to death in the real estate world. Your sphere of influence is your family, your friends, business associates, anybody that that hopefully you can pick up, their business. Claren, who's an agent here, she's not here today, but she just got a nice listing over, I believe, in Madeira Beach, $450,000. It's a friend, a co-worker of her husband. That's the sphere of influence. So, the husband mentioned her. it was a competitive situation in terms of, I think the client was talking to, 3 or 4 agents, but, Claren ended up getting the business, because she had that kind of, door in, so to speak, because, they knew her husband, and she took advantage of it. So that's, kind of how you, so again, your sphere of influence, it builds over time. Again, it's just letting people that know that you're in the real estate business, and if they need real estate services or they know someone who needs real estate services, to make sure that they think of you. So you're constantly working that angle, and again, all of these amalgamate into hopefully more business. It's 4 different things that you've kind of got going on. Some are more immediate, internet leads. Hopefully you find a buyer, they look to buy now. You're calling, you're picking up a listing or 2 here and there. The people visiting those open houses, they're visiting the open houses because they're in the market to buy something today. So that's a good way of meeting people. Social media, it makes you look like a more solid real estate person. And again, can convert, listings, buyers, and then, your sphere of influence. So any questions in Periscope, Leanne? Any questions, Talia?
No.
All right, we're looking good. So if anybody wants to give me a call, we can chat further about this off Periscope. And thanks so much for tuning in, and go work those 4 horsemen. Thank you.